Experiencing a wide range of emotions is central to the human experience. We go through highs and lows of joy, anger, sadness, disappointment, and grief. And that's a beautiful thing. But if we're not healthily aware or aligned with our emotions, they can end up controlling us instead of us controlling them. It might feel strange to think that emotions can be a skill for your kid to learn, but they are. Having high emotional intelligence is key to both personal and professional success. Whether navigating a difficult conversation with a loved one, regulating your own emotions, or speaking on stage to 10,000 people, it's vital to healthily embody our emotions and teach our kids to do the same. Hi, I'm Ivy, founder and CEO of Prequel. We've helped over 500 kids 9 to 17 discover themselves and the world through entrepreneurship and world-class mentors. Today, we're going to be talking about all things emotional intelligence, what it is, why it's important, and how you can help your kid grow these skills. Emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions. This naturally leads to identifying and understanding these emotions in others, allowing you to handle interpersonal relationships with empathy, compassion, and care. There are 4 pillars of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Today, we're going to talk about all of them and how you can grow in each one. Growing self-awareness around emotions is not just healthy for one's own well-being and relationships, but it's a critical step in becoming a leader. Great leaders express their emotions and vulnerabilities, their true selves, to create positive resonance, which is interpersonal connections built on shared positivity, safety, and trust. We're not suggesting your kids go and overshare or cry hysterically in an attempt to be vulnerable. This is more about conveying and cultivating emotion in a calm, controlled way. When kids are able to experience a wide range of emotions and be aware of those emotional states, they will be able to identify them in others and be able to guide, lead, and help them. So how can you help your kid grow their emotional intelligence? Stick to the end and find out. To help kids grasp a better understanding of what emotional intelligence actually is, we have Prequel students first read this article, 11 Signs You Lack Emotional Intelligence, and it's linked in the description below. It's a simple, concise walkthrough of the major symptoms that stem from the problem of poor emotional intelligence. Some examples are: you get stressed easily, you have difficulty asserting yourself, you have a limited emotional vocabulary, you make assumptions quickly and defend them vehemently, you hold grudges, you don't let go of mistakes, you often feel misunderstood, you don't know your triggers, you don't get angry, you blame other people for how they make you feel, you're easily offended. We also have the kids take a fun 10-minute quiz to test their own emotional intelligence. I encourage you to do this pre-work with your kid before diving into any exercises. It's also linked below. Many of us assume we're emotionally intelligent without realizing how much we have to learn. This is a great way to help your kid be more open to learning these lessons. Now let's dive into 3 actionable exercises that can help you increase your kid's self-awareness. Exercise number 1, the feelings exercise. This exercise is focused on cultivating intentional, intuitive conversations around feelings and emotion. First, ask your kid, how do you feel? Be prepared for them to say they feel fine, and be ready to start the exercise with this question: why do we almost always say we are fine even when we are not? Continue the discussion with questions like, do you find it easy to talk about your feelings? What makes it hard to talk about your feelings? What influences our perceptions about feelings, such as internal expectations, society, culture, parents, systems? Can you consciously shift your feelings from one to another? After your kid answers, have them perform an emotional brainstorm. Tell them to think of as many emotions as they possibly can, and either write them, sketch them, or display them using emojis. Then have them pick 2 emotions at random, or you can pick them, and prompt them to discuss how they get from one emotion to the next. Some prompts you can use are: how do you get from A to B? How do you get back? When you feel the emotion, what do you do? What are some thoughts you have? What do you feel in your body when you feel these emotions? How does your body language, voice, or facial expression change between these states? How do you return to a state of calm? Lastly, wrap up the exercise with these follow-up questions. What was the most challenging part of this exercise? What did you notice when switching from one emotion to the other? We want to normalize kids processing, regulating, and talking openly about their feelings so they don't fall into the trap of bottling emotions up inside them. Bottled up emotions inevitably manifest itself in ugly ways, sometimes decades down the road. Our goal is to help kids have a healthy relationship with their feelings so they can help others do the same. Exercise number 2, Role-playing emotions. In this exercise, kids will grow their self-awareness by feeling certain emotions and learning how to regulate them. This teaches them to employ an impulse strategy by thinking of 3 responses before taking action. Before you begin, remind your kid that this is a safe space where they can be their authentic self. This is a no judgment zone, so you can grow together. The exercise goes like this. Ideally, you will have 3 people participate. It could be you, your spouse, kids, or siblings. Each of you will have a different role. One will be the initiator, one will be the responder, and one will be the observer. The initiator provides 3 different scenarios to the responder. These scenarios range from potential encounters with strangers, coworkers, or loved ones. The responder must react and respond to the scenario as they normally would. Meanwhile, the observer takes notes on the responder's emotional reaction, paying close attention to body language, facial expressions, voice quality, and overall feel of the conversation. Here are 2 different scenarios and approaches you can use. Scenario 1, shirking responsibilities. The 2 of you have been working on a project together for 2 weeks now. Coming up with the idea and creating the plan have been easy and productive. This week, you are executing that plan, but responder has been ignoring messages from the initiator and submitting incomplete work for their parts. As the initiator, you notice that the responder is still active on social media. Approach 1, initiator. Hey, responder name, I'd like to talk to you about our project. When you shared your part half complete, I felt annoyed because I also noticed you've been active on social media. What's going on? The responder can respond, I'm sorry I annoyed you. I've been dealing with some personal issues and I use social media as a distraction. Approach 2 can be, initiator says, hey, responder name, our project is due in a week and I'd like to talk to you about our progress. I'm worried about the quality of our work and it's important to me that we get a good grade together. When you shared your part half complete, I felt concerned because that's unusual for you. What's going on? The responder can say, I'm sorry I didn't get it all done. I know that getting a good grade is important to you, and it's important to me too. I've been dealing with some personal issues that have been distracting for me. Approach 3. Hey, responder name, I'd like to talk to you about our project. You've been on social media a lot and you didn't send in your part complete. I'm not sure you care about this project, and it means a lot to me. What's going on? The responder can say, of course I care about this project. Why would you think that? I don't. You have no idea what's been going on in my life. Social media is the only part of my day that even brings a sliver of joy. I can redo my part of the project. In scenario 2, unfollowed on Instagram. It's the start of a new school year and in you, the initiator, you notice that the responder was in your English class. You two had a brief misunderstanding last year, but you made amends then. You even sat down together for lunch a few times. You open Instagram to send them a quick DM, but notice that you've been unfriended. After class, you approach responder. What do you say? After each scenario, take a moment to breathe and process, and then each role will discuss as the initiator, responder, observer, I'm feeling, insert emotions. Initiator, when you said those lines, what were you thinking inside? Responder, when you heard those lines, what were you thinking inside? Initiator, what did you feel when you heard the response? Responder, what did you feel after you gave the response? Observer, what did you notice about each person? Keep in mind the pillars: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. You can also come up with your own scenarios as well. The goal is to help your kid regulate their emotions and develop a healthy relationship with conflict. Exercise number 3, affirmations. An affirmation is when you actively use the phrase I am to develop positive self-talk and self-image. The purpose of this last exercise is to teach kids about the power of language and the subconscious beliefs we have about language. Your kid will need to pull out a sheet of paper so they can write down answers to your questions. To start, ask them to finish the prompt I am blank. Some kids will list emotions: anxious, angry, physical states, tired, hungry, activities, thinking about school or sports. But hopefully some will list titles they identify with: a student, a sister or brother. Ask your kid to finish the sentence again, but this time with an emotion. Once they've written down their current emotion, ask them to rephrase it to I feel blank. As a culture, we tend to say I am stressed, I am sad, I am angry. We're conditioned to speak this way. But I am feels more permanent for the brain, almost as if you are identifying as this emotion, whereas I feel tells the brain that the emotion isn't who you are. It's a temporary feeling. After these initial prompts, ask your kid, when you say I am, what does that mean to you? What about when you said I feel? How do you feel about yourself when you say I am versus I feel? Then encourage them to put this into practice. Rather than saying I am stressed, they can learn to say I feel stressed, but I am capable of accomplishing this task. The way we talk about and perceive ourselves matters. Our thoughts and words become our beliefs. Empower your kid to learn this themselves by tapping into affirmations. To recap, you can help your kid grow their emotional intelligence with these 3 exercises. Number 1, the feelings exercise. Number 2, role-playing emotions. And number 3, affirmations. Emotional intelligence is a journey and not a destination. As humans, we're constantly growing and changing and bettering ourselves. Learning to regulate our emotions is a part of this process and an important skill every kid should learn. If you're interested in more content like this, sign up for Prequel's weekly newsletter. We give advice and free resources to parents who want their kids to learn the skills to get ahead in school and life, especially the skills not normally taught in school. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more.